Hello everyone, and today we are going to do the presumed quarterback video that I had scheduled. And so we're going to go over the 5 options I have down here. None of these are draft, as draft can be a little iffy to guess, especially at this juncture. But obviously we're going to start with Teddy Bridgewater, who was the presumed franchise quarterback at one point, and he almost lost his leg due to the knee injury. He hasn't played in a meaningful game, or at least meaningful snaps in a meaningful game, since the Seattle game back in 2015. And only the coaches who see him practice, the coaches and the players who actually see him practice, they're the only ones that can even have an idea of how good he is. And everyone still seems to love him, so that still seems to be a thing with Teddy Bridgewater. Everyone loves him, fans, coaches, media, just the whole shebang. Everyone loves the man, and the offense has never really been focused around Teddy Bridgewater, and he's never really shown much in the box score, but if you actually watched him, you would understand that he converted a lot of third and longs, and he had a line that really couldn't block, as his line from left to right went as follows: Matt Khalil, Brandon Fusco, Joe Berger, Mike Harris, and TJ Clemmings. So you combine that line with pretty much only running on first and second down, and it's a lot of third and longs for Teddy Bridgewater with 7-step drops in a vertical passing system when his real weakness is his deep accuracy passing. So he didn't fit in the offense to begin with. He was more of this West Coast. He needs more timing, anticipation kind of throws, these quicker step drops. Kind of use him the way, I'm not going to compare him to Brady, but it's like that similar play style. So where you see a lot of quick throws, it's going to be out quickly. It's going to be a lot of run after catch, maybe some rub routes, some pick routes, whatever you want to call them. And then you let the receivers do their thing. That's just how he works. And I feel like you could definitely win with that offense, as has been proven, but just not in the way they were trying to do anything with Teddy back in 2015. He oftentimes had to make a great play in order to keep the drive alive. And so I'm thinking if we can actually get this thing catered to Teddy Bridgewater, it wouldn't be that bad of a thing, assuming he's the same guy, which is not to be obviously guaranteed. But he would always do those things, and he wouldn't get rewarded with the easy touchdown throw that most quarterbacks are. But instead, it was Adrian Peterson. And that moves us to our second option, Sam Bradford, otherwise known as Sammy Sleeves. So Sleeves here, he has a knee so fragile that it makes China Glass blush, and it would be hard for me to see Minnesota bringing him back to be the guy, especially with Shermer being gone, because I really wouldn't shock me if everyone's like just saying, "Oh, sorry, Sam, your knee is just so bad," to where maybe you can bring him back as a backup if he's okay with that. Because obviously he can't go to Shermer and be like, "Oh, I'm going to be your guy," because obviously Shermer has Eli Manning and the number 2 pick coming in, who's probably going to be Josh Rosen. So it's a little interesting how this all works out here, because I would think Bradford, of all the guys, is the one guy who is like, nope, no way. Or at least as bring him back as the starter. And then you have Case Keenum. Obviously, he had this career revelation year, and he had a lot of things around him and lucked out more than once, which is generous to say. And can the success be sustained, I think, is the only question you need to ask. Do you trust Keenum without Shermer? Zim obviously never showed the confidence in him at any point during the season. And given the price he'll be asking for, which I assume is at least $20 million, it really isn't worth to bring back Case. And I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way. Well, Case played great. Well, ultimately, it matters what Zimmer thinks. And to me, this is not a Zimmer quarterback. This is not a quarterback Zimmer can look at and be like, "Oh, he's my guy. I'm confident in him." Because, I mean, even if you watched his press conference, he almost got offended when they were asking about Case Keenum. Didn't I just say we were going through the process? And then they'll ask about Teddy, like, "Oh, I think he should have played more," which is a little weird that he would bring that up. It's like, if only there was a guy who decided who played over the other. I digress. And obviously, Sam He said he feels over his knee issues, which I highly doubt. But the fact that he was able to lend some kind of support their way and not Case Keenum is a little telling to where Case Keenum lies in this whole thing. And then we have my two out of house option guys here, which are Kirk Cousins. He's the first one I'm going to mention here because I know he's the big name guy. And also, although he does have a very nice stat sheet, he is looking to get paid, and a lot of it. But does this really make sense for Minnesota? I would say no, because you have Diggs, Barr, Kendricks, Waynes, and Hunter, and all possibly getting paid as well, hefty deals in the near future and this offseason and next. And then you possibly have the reworking of the Adam Thielen deal due to him playing out of his contract, essentially. Because of how he's played, he's kind of outplayed the contract. So it leads me to believe they wouldn't make the biggest run at Kirk, because I feel like they would like to keep this nucleus together more often than not. And although he is a fine quarterback, I just don't think he's world-changing enough to garner as much cash as he will, and I expect him to get $30 million a year, and probably close to $100 million guaranteed. So we're probably talking like a $150 million contract over 5 years, and anywhere between $90 and $105 million guaranteed. So I'm thinking that's probably too hefty of a price for me, and I'd be willing to go with a lot of the other options that we have over Kirk Cousins, strictly because he would rip our core apart, strictly because we wouldn't be able to pay them. And then my last guy, who I don't know how people are going to like this one, but Tyrod Taylor, I do like him a little bit more than others, I think, because I feel like he's never been fleshed out, personally. I feel like he's always been in this, similar to Teddy Bridgewater, he's always been in this run-first offense, and he's never been able to really take control of something. He's never been given that control. So, is he the best? I would tell you no, but I'll tell you why he's at least worth this Plan B option. If you consider him a Plan B, he could also be a Plan A, I guess, depending on how that whole Buffalo thing shakes out. I'm assuming he'll be available. It just looks that way. And since he's always been in this run-first offense, he's never been allowed to show what he has. But the things you have seen is he will occasionally unlaunch this deep ball that has really great touch, and he also has one of the lowest interception percentages that you'll ever see at 1.4%. So he's efficient, he hasn't turned the ball over, and he has the ability to be explosive as well, because obviously Tyrod can run, and you're getting Dalvin Cook back. So this is a guy who I feel like is definitely in the running if the price isn't too steep to either trade or Buffalo just cuts bait. So this is one, I feel like this is a Zimmer quarterback. I feel like of these ones, he's one of the more Zimmer-like quarterbacks. And you really can't tell me with the way Zimmer reacts to a turnover that the idea of a 1.4 interception rate isn't something that he likes. And my final overall thought right now is that Teddy is the guy. I feel like they're going to get Teddy done. He's going to be the guy. Obviously, you're still going to need to draft one at some point. But I would just think, because Zim loves the kid and the way he plays, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we as fans, whether it's just fans, media, ESPN people, just your casual everyday guys, like, it doesn't really matter what we think. It's more of what Zimmer thinks, and that's why I was trying to order this in a certain way here, or at least in my mind, not necessarily how I named them, but I would think Tyrod and Teddy Bridgewater are the two guys that might be the most considered, because they don't turn the ball over, and Zimmer loves guys who don't turn the ball over, put you in good situations, and just let your defense do its thing, because that defense is his baby, and that's just how we know how he likes to go with it. And I can't imagine him not going with Teddy, because it felt like all year he was trying to essentially look for an excuse to play Bridgewater, and he just never got the excuse. I know some people will say, well, in the playoffs, Sam Bradford was the backup quarterback, not Teddy Bridgewater. So he clearly can't be the guy. And I say that's wrong just because Shermer's not there anymore. And I feel like that was a big part in Sam being elevated over Bridgewater, was the fact that Sam's a Shermer quarterback, essentially. That was basically his guy, and you can't bench Keenum when he was playing well, because that's a problem usually. So, but you can say this is the quarterback I went through offseason with. I've had multiple years with him. I want him over this guy. So that makes more sense to me. But once you take Shermer out, it's hard to say that Sam or Keenum would be above Teddy. Because at this point, it's just Zimmer's thoughts, not, oh, this is what Shermer thinks. This is what this guy thinks. It's Zim's now saying he can go to an offensive coordinator and just say, oh, this is your quarterback. What do you want to do with him? So, which I think he might very well be doing with a one Teddy Bridgewater. So, please do leave your comments down below. It is there for any kind of discussion, whether it may be. And until next time, I bid you adieu.